Hey everyone, I'm outside today because it's pretty nice out. Also, I gotta work early because some machinery broke down. So, let's see. Next Ninja Storm episode, Thunder, or was it Return of Thunder Part 2? See, it starts off with Cam is watching the news at Ninja Ops, and it tells about there's this unusual cold front going on, and, okay. That doesn't really go anywhere. There is a cute line from Sensei where he says, "This is the one time I'm glad I have fur." And then we see the Rangers all meet up together on the island. Okay, so they're not split up or anything, they're all on the same island. The last episode kind of set it up like they were all gonna be separated, or at least far apart, but they're just all together at the beginning of this one. Kind of kills the cliffhanger ending of the last episode. So anyway, they still don't know where they are, though, and they don't know what's going on. They see something nearby in the forest, so they follow Blake and Hunter, and Blake and Hunter make it clear that they're not friendly, and Shane's like, "See, guys, I told you we couldn't trust them," or something. So then they get into a fight, and then up on Lothor's ship, somehow the cold front that Cam was hearing about on the news reached space. How does a cold front on Earth go to space? How is it colder in space from an influence on Earth? I don't get it. And this episode doesn't really explain it either. So anyway, Chubo explains that the cold was caused by the magic island that they raised and sent the Rangers to. Alright, sure, why not? So then back with the Rangers, Hunter and Blake are beginning to shake the brainwashing spell they're under, and then Chubo goes down to the island and revives the snail monster from last episode to fight the Wind Rangers. And then Chubo goes to the Thunder Rangers and, let's see, he distracts them, Lothor fires a beam down, it hits Hunter, and it restores the brainwashing spell. Chubo tells Hunter that his brother betrayed him, so Hunter starts fighting with Blake, and the Wind Rangers are fighting Kelzax, and then suddenly they see this steam shoot up out of the ground. It hits one of the Kelzax, and the Kelzax turns on all the other Kelzax, and they're like, "Huh, what's that all about?" And then, let's see, the steam hits Hunter, and it drives him into a rage, and he starts attacking Blake and the other Rangers, so they teleport away. And then we learn that the island is sinking, and if it completely submerges, it will cause Earth's temperature to drop dangerously low. All right. I really think they could have simplified this a bit. The Steam thing, I feel like could have very easily been like the point of the episode. Like, the reason the Rangers are sent to this island specifically is to get hit with that steam that causes them to turn on each other. I feel like that should have been the goal of the villains instead of just, oh, there happens to be this magic steam here that, and also the island, like, drops the temperature. I don't know where that came from. That was just weird. I'm assuming maybe it's a thing from Hurricaneger. Maybe it ties in with a plot point that was in a Hurricaneger episode. But I don't know for sure, because I don't remember this in Hurricaneger. I don't know. It's so much of this episode, it's just stuff on top of other stuff, on top of other stuff, on top of other stuff, and none of it really gets a good explanation or reason or anything. And this is one of the things that I was kind of conflicted about analyzing every episode of Power Rangers, particularly when I get to Ninja Storm, because I knew there was stuff like this coming, where there's just stuff that happens. There's not really any clear information or explanation for any of it. It's just stuff happens, accept it. And like, yeah, I get it. It's Power Rangers, weird stuff often happens. There's usually not always an explanation for something, but with stuff like this, usually in the past, like in the Saban era, they would have some kind of plot that made sense with what was going on. Like the island has some reaction or causes a reaction that causes the temperature to drop. So in the past, it seems like they would have tried to build the episode around that, or the steam that turns people on each other. It seems like they would have. I really feel like this episode was a first draft and then they never got around to rewriting it. Like, it was just, they wrote the first draft and very quickly sent it out and didn't really think about how to simplify it, because I really think that a better story would have been like, Chuba wants the Thunder Rangers and maybe the Wind Rangers on this island because he knows that there's steam on the island that turns people against each other magically for whatever reason. I feel like that would have worked just as well, like, better than what we got. Because what we got is very convoluted. Like, oh, there just happens to be this magic steam on the island that turns the Rangers on each other, making the brainwashing thing kind of pointless. Like, seriously, what's the point now of using the brainwasher beam if there's magic steam on the island that can do it for you? Also, or you could consider the steam redundant because Hunter was already hit with the brainwasher beam. He didn't need, like, extra incentive to attack the Rangers. I mean, I guess it doesn't help, but it doesn't help. Whatever. Moving on. Other things about the episode. Looking through my notes here. Oh yeah, the snail monster from last episode is back. He's stronger than before. He's got a bit of a new look to him. Doesn't really serve much more purpose than he did there. He was pretty pointless there. He's pretty pointless here. There's not a whole lot of reason for him. He's just a monster because they had monster footage and they wanted to use it here. I really think they could have probably just taken all the footage with the snail monster and saved it for another episode. Like, maybe have a whole episode built around him transforming into different forms or something. Also, while they're at it, give him a personality or an interesting voice or something, because there's nothing to him. He's not a memorable monster at all. Like, I completely forgot about him. So then, oh yeah, there's a weird running gag in this episode with, up on Lothor's ship, let's see, it's too cold, so Lothor orders Zurgane to fix the heating, and he has this big, weird-looking heater, and at first I was like, oh, is the heater going to turn into a monster because Zurgane does something to it? No. I don't know why they have a weird-looking heater. So anyway, Zurgane fixes it, but then it gets too hot, so Lothor's like, you gotta fix it and make it cold again, and Zurgane's like, do this, do that, and, I don't know what it is about Zurgane, but the show seems to really want him to look pathetic. I don't really know why. Like, I don't know, maybe they were struggling to figure out a personality for Zurgane, so they figured, oh, he's the put-upon one that can never please Lothor, and nothing he does is ever good enough, and, like, I don't know. In the show, the weird thing is they play up Chubo as the dumb one, but he's been competent, like, and successful more times than Zurgane. Zurgane doesn't get to do anything. I feel sorry for Zurgane. Also, Lothor's whole, like, thing of turning down his plans seems to have gone away, because he accepts Chubo's plans without much fuss. So maybe this is a time for Zurgane to start suggesting his own ideas again, because apparently now Lothor will listen. Then again, Lothor doesn't have much respect for Zurgane, so, yeah, it's really weird. Anyway, the concept of a rising and sinking island is shared by the episode in Mighty Morphin, Welcome to Venus Island, where Zed kidnaps that one girl and puts her on this magic island, Venus Island. So the Rangers have to go rescue her, and there's a time limit. The island is going to sink, and if it sinks, then they're all dead, and the girl's dead. And it's similar, kind of, to here. I'm wondering if that episode had any influence on this episode. Because, like, the whole rising, sinking island, again, just feels redundant on top of all the other stuff going on. It doesn't need to... We don't need this extra element. Especially it's not, like, the second part of a 4-part episode. Like, I feel like they could have, I don't know, built up some of the problems on the island. Like, maybe first, they're on the island, they're all separated, and then at the end of this one, they all get together. Then they find out that the island is causing cold to do whatever for whatever reason. And then there's the steam that turns them on each other. And then they find out the island is sinking, and they have to get off the island before it sinks or something. Like, building rising tension, it's basic storytelling structure, and this episode kind of foregoes that and just dumps a bunch of stuff on top of other stuff on top of other stuff on top of other stuff that is making the world cold and also space cold. Like, I'm pretty sure Power Rangers has established that space is cold, right? Or maybe not. I don't know. The Ninja Turtles went up in space and they were fine. That one little girl with Carlos was fine going around in space, so, Mike survived in space at one time. It's an and the weird thing is, it's an okay episode. Like, despite all the negative things I have to say about it, I really like Ninja Storm. The characters, the actors are what carry the show, even in, like, weaker stories like this one, where it's just a bunch of stuff happening, but the actors, the Rangers, they're what push the show forward, and they're what, like, really carry it. I really miss having casts like Ninja Storms that just clicked so well, because after Ninja Storm, we didn't get a whole lot more casts that clicked as well as they did. Like, everything works. We can have a scene that's completely pointless, has no payoff, like Dustin and Tori in the other episode talking about Tori wanted to take his bike, and he's like, no, you can't take my bike, and it's a pointless scene because it has no payoff, it doesn't accomplish anything, it doesn't really tie into anything, it doesn't really reveal more about the characters, but it's acceptable because it's these actors and they're likable. We want to see them. I can watch them do just about anything and it's entertaining. Don't know what else to say about this one. So, I guess that's it for it. Hope you enjoyed this. See ya.